What up, everybody? It's your girl Shania. Welcome back to my channel, Beauty for Ashes. It's been a while, but I'm back and I'm excited about the word that I have for y'all today. So let's get to it. So I've been noticing a lot, like on campus, around the world period, that we are truly going through an identity crisis. And a lot of us don't even know that we're going through it. If you go to Matthew chapter 16 verses 13 through 19, is where Jesus is talking to his disciples. And he says, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" And they replied, "Some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and others say Jeremiah, or some other prophet." And I thought about that. I said all the names that they mentioned wasn't who Jesus was. And I thought about us. You know, we go through life being called things or having these labels put on us that actually aren't who we are. Labels like victim, unwanted, a failure. But because we don't know who we are, we can't defend ourselves. And so we go searching. We pay money. We join organizations. We have certain friend groups, get in certain relationships, wear certain clothing labels, hoping that our identity will be found there. Now that you're in that organization or in that relationship, now you're trying to live up to whoever they say you should be. And you're failing miserably because that's not who you were designed to be. So because we went to man instead of God, now we're miserable. We're living miserable lives. We're unhappy. But we start to believe the things that they're saying. We start to believe the labels. We start to believe the lies. And we start to operate in those lies. And they become our reality. And now we're in the world having these unnecessary pressures on us that were never meant for us to have. So then if you go back to the scripture in verse 15, Jesus then asks, "Well, who do you say that I am?" And Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "You are blessed, Simon, son of John, because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You did not learn this from any human being. Now I say to you that you are Peter," which means rock, "and upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it." See, Peter had a relationship with God. And because of that, God revealed to him who Jesus was. And in return, Jesus revealed to him who he was. All of this stuff boils down to a relationship with God. If you notice, Jesus started his response calling him Simon, son of John. But he ended it calling him Peter, meaning rock. A rock that he was going to build his church. See, when you have a relationship with God, he will reveal to you not only your identity, but as well as your purpose. And you can see that here when Jesus was talking to Peter. We've all gone through our lives and we've all asked this question at some point or another, or you will. Who am I and what is my purpose? Some of us are just living, you know, and I promise you that God created you for a specific reason on this earth. But unless you have a relationship with God, unless you actually get to know him, you will never know what that is. Let's be real, okay? Some of us have gotten into bad relationships and we look back on them like, who was that person? And how in the world did I tolerate that for as long as I did? It's because you didn't know who you were. And when we don't know who we are, we accept anything. It's a thing called standards. And I believe everybody has them. But some are on different levels. But our standards should be on the same level as God. And if it's not, if it falls short, that's when we get hurt and that's when we make mistakes. I love this scripture right here. In Jeremiah 1:5, it says, God says, "I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. Before you were born, I set you apart and appointed you as my prophet to the nations." Think about that. He said, before I knew you. So before he created us, before he put breath in our lungs, God knew exactly what our purpose was going to be. We were already a thought in his mind. Before your parents even thought of you, God thought of you. And he's like, you know, I'm gonna create him or her. But I'm not going to create him or her just to live in earth. I'm going to create this person for a specific reason that I need them to fulfill on the earth for me. Some of us die, never knowing what our purpose or identity ever was. I always use this analogy. It's called the toy maker analogy. I believe I made it up. So basically you have a toy and it breaks. So you try to fix it and you make it worse. Or you try to fix it and after playing it with a couple more times, it breaks again. Or you could have gave it to the toy maker, the person who originally created it, who knows exactly how it's supposed to operate, allowed them to fix it, and they will make it brand new, look like it was never played with. Okay? God can restore you like the enemy never played with you. In Toy Story, Woody got toe up. I don't remember how, but he got toe up, and he somehow got sent to the toy maker, and he made him brand spanking new. What's so funny is, in that scene, Andy which is the boy's name that owns the toy, his name is on Woody's foot, and the toy maker paints right over it. He paints over that label because that's not who Woody was. I know I'm stretching it, I'm digging right now, but think about that. That wasn't Woody's name, that wasn't his identity. He painted right over it and made him brand spanking new, like he was never ever played with by any kid. And the same thing with God. God will make sure that your life is so restored that people look at it like, didn't you just go through? I swear it looked like it never happened. And that's how good our God is. If you go back to scripture in verse 19, Jesus says, "And I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you forbid on earth will be forbidden in heaven, and whatever you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven." Jesus said he gave us the keys to the kingdom. What does that mean? It means he gave us authority and power. Do you know why the enemy works overtime so you don't know your identity? Because with identity comes authority and power. It comes with everything God said he was going to give us. Everything that Jesus died for. The enemy should get scared every time you wake up in the morning. The enemy doesn't care that you go to church. You can go to church till you're blue in the face, but if you never know who you are, if you never step in to who God is saying you are, if you never apply the things you're learning at church, none of it will ever matter. Once you know who you are, you'll say, wait a minute. God said I'm the head and not the tail. God said I'm more than a conqueror, so I don't have to stay here. I don't have to be a victim. So I'm encouraging everyone to talk to God. Have this one-on-one conversation that we all should be having with him. Say, God, I know this is what everybody else calls me, even myself, and name those things to him. Say exactly what you've been calling yourself, what everybody else been calling you. And then say, but God, who do you say that I am? And when God tells you, because he will, live in that truth, operate in that truth, and I'm telling you, everything else in your life will make sense. So I hope you guys enjoy this message. I'm glad to be back, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.